Yes, Georgia versus UMass week. Georgia coming off the big 31-17 win over Tennessee. Got Alex Crittenden. Hopefully I said that right.
You did. Crittenden.
Alex Crittenden from Fifth Quarter, Georgia on Twitter. He's very active on there. Also, a great return guest. How are we doing today, Alex?
Good. Doing good. Had a good work day. Ready to dive into some football talk.
Yeah, man. Sounds great. Appreciate you coming on again. Like we mentioned, Georgia 31-17. I think it was one of those, definitely had back against the wall. It was great atmosphere, blackout, but without the black jerseys. But I think it was a get-right game for Carson Beck because I know he had a lot of critics out there. I myself were probably trashing him, everybody, what's going on. But he pretty much put everything on his back. I'll also give it to the O-line. Very clean game, gave up no sacks, and he was able to go through his progressions. And also, I believe he was able to show some wheels as well, which I was impressed. And I think he even said after the game, he made a little joke. He says, "I'm a dual threat quarterback now," and I think Kirby said, "Yeah, you're right." But But I will give it to Tennessee. They were scrappy coming in, really legit defense, top 5 defense in all the categories. It had some impressive wins. Also, Alabama. But for some reason, Georgia has their number, it being 8 straight in the series. And I know a lot of Tennessee fans, and they covered. Like they always say, good teams win, great teams cover. Because right when that spread came out, everybody is like, how coming off Ole Miss? How is it going to be 9.5? I think I even saw it down to 8.5 or 9. How are they going to cover? And Georgia came out. They did get the running game going, which they were actually struggling all year, and they got the tight ends going. The way I said on my reels, Oscar Delt, welcome to the party. Where have you been all year? And Jurasic, he also had some catches as well. But yeah, all in all, great win. And we'll talk about those rankings that just came out. But what was your opinion on the game?
I absolutely just loved the way they used tight ends this game. Benjamin Jurasic, 5 catches, 51 yards. Oscar Delt, 4 catches, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns. They really worked on getting our playmakers in space, and I think that helped Beck kind of get into the flow of the game. And when he sees those completions and guys getting yards after the catch, he starts throwing down the field. That throw to Oscar Delt for the first touch on the game was that's an NFL throw. I tweeted that out.
Yep.
And I thought the defense, everyone was kind of complaining about our corners backing off, playing with a lot of room, a lot of space, but they held Nico to 5 yards per attempt.
Right.
And I thought that really helped, slow down that pass game. We were able to load the box a little bit more in the second half. Dylan Sampson is the best running back in the SEC. Yes. And he just kind of got over that 100-yard mark at 101. I thought the second half we did a lot better, and holding in the 3.9 yards per carry is very impressive from a defense that kind of got tore up the week before a little bit. Not really tore up, just struggled. I just loved what I saw we finally put together a full game, it felt like.
Yeah, we did. And getting down 10-0, I'll admit that when they struggled a little bit, I like, man, this looks like Ole Miss game all over again, 10-0. And then they made some adjustments and just got hot. Also say one of the best keys of the game, I think they were putting it on Twitter of, hey, we got a special guest tackler, and we're going to show you boys how to tackle as the Brett Thornton.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he made a play. I mean, that could have went down and got a big kick return or whatever, but he saved it. And it's always great to see punter go out there and get a big tackle. So that was really good.
That saved a touchdown. That saved a touchdown. Now, to all Tennessee fans, there was a block in the back missed, and do we win by more if that's called or anything? Seen a lot of complaints about calls on Twitter, and goes both ways.
Yeah, I'll say on those calls, like the one, the dude lollygagging. I mean, if you saw it on the instant replay, he's just doing a little Sunday stroll, trying to get off the field. I mean, everybody always tries to get a guy offside, so I mean, you can't blame Georgia. And then that was a face mask. I mean, the dude's helmet came off,
Yeah, he ripped it off from like underneath on a different camera angle, and the refs are right down there on the field, and I don't they usually don't call like I mean, I don't know. The face mask was definitely like I could understand until we got that other camera view.
Yeah. And then I thought, looking live time on that push off on Arius Smith, that was a ticky tack on that catch that he had, PI.
It was kind of slow mo. It was just barely.
Slow mo was just like, I think the first time through, like, all right, I can kind of see it, but on the slow mo, I mean, it looked like some flag football touching, in my opinion, but we were getting some calls in our favor, I'll admit. I mean, and the ball was falling our way literally. Like, there was that one drive we had 2 fumbles. But all in all, complete game. Also, the big thing is clean with no turnovers is huge.
Oh, yeah, especially from back.
Exactly.
Especially from back. And I will say a lot of the interceptions have not been on him this year. I would say it's like 50-50 kind of deal. So he deserved a game like that. He needed one like that. And hopefully it carries forward for us.
Yeah, I think he's going to get hot when he can. It's also good to see, like, Chauncey Bowens come in, 5 carries, 7 yards, not a lot, but also good experience. Nate Frazier had a good game, didn't have any fumbles. And I think it was good to me to see some of the young guys, like Nitro Tuggle came in. He had 2 catches for 25 yards. And Dylan, I think we got some good news. Dylan Bell's not going to be a long-term injury. Hopefully back for the Tech game.
Great news.
That was great because I kind of – when he went down, I was like, oh, boy, here comes another bad injury. But yeah, all in all, 31-17, 8 straight, which is definitely impressive. And I think for Tennessee fans, like, man, we can't get over the hump with these guys. And especially – I think they knew it was going to be tough coming on the road after that Ole Miss game. But game day was there.
All these big teams are losing games on the road,
Yeah.
Like Georgia, both games came at really tough, road games. And –
right.
I can't stand the committee punishing teams for losing on the road and, not punishing for bad schedules is the thing that I have a problem with. But just if you're a Georgia player and coach, just do your job and win. And then wherever you play.
Exactly.
Kind of deal at this point.
Completely agree. Before we jump into the big Georgia versus UMass matchup, I think some Tennessee fans needed some after this. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com, 0 carb, 0 sugar. Great at the tailgate. Great on a round of golf. Great at the pool. Personal favorites, the watermelon. But for 20% off, Doghouse 20. Again, that's Doghouse 20 for 20% off. Also, check them out on Instagram. And they have the brand new coconut flavor that came out, I believe, during the summer. It's been sold out a lot. So if you can get a pack of those when they're available, that'd be great. But Viva Tequila, great sponsor of the show. And Georgia coming in, got hopefully get in, get out, get some young guys in. And I wouldn't mind it if they sat some guys if they have a chance, getting ready for the sneaky good Georgia Tech game that's going to be on Black Friday. But looking at this game, I think it's 42 points. The Minutemen, UMass, coming off, I believe they fired their coach. I think he had been the second term around, or because I believe before that they'd won a national title, I guess, in whatever division they were in. But 2-8, and they've been getting kind of blown out. I think Missouri earlier in the year beat them like 45-3. But any players or anything you wish that Georgia focus on, and then we might get you to get a score prediction after this.
I would love to see Nitro Tuggle get like 5 to 8 targets in this game. Would love to see Nate Frazier and the offensive line continue to be more efficient in the run game. I'd like to see, over 5 to 6 yards a carry. Hopefully for the run game this week, Beck hopefully plays like one half, and then we see some Gunner or some Jaden Rashad in the second half. But I would love to see Nitro Tuggle like play the whole game, get him ready, because he looks like a wide receiver like that could, make some really big plays in the postseason. And I'd love to see Anthony Evans get good chances in there.
Yeah.
And Dylan Bell doesn't need to play. I mean, I would even maybe keep ETN out another week to get ready for Georgia Tech, which should be actually a pretty good game.
How about with the lineman, maybe Tate Ratledge, send him out, or any guy, maybe put some of the young guys in on the O-line?
Yeah, get Michael Morris in there, maybe Drew Bobo.
Yeah.
Maybe start with like the normal O-line, kind of like make sure that they, still, get some live reps, and then the next week kind of, be ready for Georgia Tech, maybe pull them out the second half and go from there.
Yeah, completely agree. And let's say Georgia gets up 28-0 heading in the second, they jump up. How many series do you think we see from Gunner? Or is it one of those they'll just kind of hand the ball off? Kirby really doesn't like blowing a lot of these teams out, or Jaden Rashada, or what would you like to see from the quarterbacks, and maybe what rotation?
I'd love to see Gunner get in there first. He's been in the system longer. I think he's earned that. And then Rashada, get some. And I hope they give him like full reins of the offense. Let it rip. If they get up, big early, let it rip. See what they got, because we're going to need a quarterback next year. So we got to see what we got. I'm excited for Jaden and Gunner. I think both have a lot of upside, especially with their mobility.
Yeah, completely agree. I've been hearing kind of quietly more things about Jaden Rashada, that he's maybe making a little push. I haven't really heard that much about Ryan Puglisi. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. But I heard he had a rocket of an arm, but I know he's a true freshman. I know he has some injuries. But it'll be interesting to see that battle in the spring, and also maybe would they go to the portal if need be for next year. So that'll be something else.
Yeah, since Kirby took one last year, I don't know if he'll take one unless one transfers out. And if Gunner doesn't win in the spring job, I feel like Gunner is probably going to transfer out if he doesn't win the job in the spring, if he's not quarterback one in the spring. And I wouldn't blame him. He's been there for, a couple years now, and be good to see him go play somewhere and get a chance and stuff like that. But, we've seen Jaden Rashada before, and he was pretty good at Arizona State. He wasn't bad at all. Very similar to the play style of like Jaden Daniels, very similar to that. Not as good as that, obviously. I don't want to throw that out there, but very similar play style.
Yeah, I could see that. Kind of tall, kind of lanky. He's quick. He's mobile.
Mm-hmm.
I know Ryan Montgomery, I believe, signed, but I believe he had already tore his knee or his MCL. But then also, I know Juju Lewis, who's always been a big recruit, was in town for the Tennessee game. He just decommitted from USC, so I don't know if there's any smoke there.
I've been seeing Colorado everywhere. I've been seeing a lot of Colorado, unless Dion goes to the NFL.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But I think aren't both his sons eligible for the NFL? And then,
they're gone.
Would you sign to Dion if he's knowing he's not coming back? So that's why if I was him, I'd watch that really closely.
I would love for Juju to be a Georgia Bulldog. He's been a big name in the recruiting space since he was in middle school and very young high school. He's been a popular Georgia recruit for a long, long time.
Yeah. So
that'd be pretty awesome if we were able to get him.
He does seem one of those maybe like I would like to play right away, and I don't know what kind of NIL package. And how Kirby wants to have guys kind of stay and learn the system. So that'd be my only thing. If he thinks he's going to play right away, I don't want it being like a Dylan Rala type thing, which I think he's getting a little humble pie in Nebraska. I know he's a true freshman, but hey, good luck out there.
There was only one guy ready this year, and we're seeing it with DJ Lagway. He was ready right away, and he's been very good.
Right.
He's been the only true freshman quarterback I've seen that's been, looks different when he's playing.
Right. Completely agree. And then I think he might actually save Sunbelt Billy's job, or at least for one more year, is Lagway.
Yeah, that's probably half the reason why they wanted to keep Billy, because DJ was probably gone to A&M or something. If Billy was fired.
Yeah. And then Alex, let's say maybe a score prediction. I know it's a crazy spread, but what kind of prediction are you looking for the weekend?
I'm gonna be a little bit bolder here. I'm gonna go like 63-7. I think Kirby's gonna step on the gas a little bit for this game. Not to kick a team while they're down, but obviously, they believe, beating up on bad teams and blowing out bad teams get you higher, rankings and stuff like that. So maybe Kirby will try to follow that formula.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm going to go like 49-7. It's always hard to shut out a team. I don't really know much about them. I kind of look at their stats, but 2-8. Sometimes, these teams play hard for a coach or a coaching staff that let go of their coach. So we'll see, or might just kind of lay down and pack it in. Yeah, I'm going to go 49-7. I just want to see some young guys get in, get those starters out, and no injuries, and just have a clean game. And then they can focus on Tech. And it's going to be a short week is another thing. That'd be even better. I know it's being 12:45 games, so have those guys out within an hour or so, and, hey, get as much time for Tech.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a sneaky good game because they are good this year. But, yeah, I'm about 49-7, but I do like that 63-7. I think the last time they played, it's like 63-21 or something. I think that Isabella kid gave Georgia some problems. I forget what year it was. He was
Oh,
in
that
the
was James Cook's freshman year because I just saw a highlight of him scoring his first touchdown against UMass back in like 2018, I think it was.
So I think that's the last time we played him. So, yeah, we'll see. And then next, I believe it happened yesterday, but the updated college football playoff rankings, and they had Georgia number 10 and only moved up 2 spots. And I know there's a big uproar with that. I thought originally, I was thinking maybe like move up a little bit, 8 or 9, but 10. And I just kind of see it as some Big Ten bias, if I can say that. Because, I mean, I kind of agree with the first 3. Oregon, they've kind of, even though they did struggle this past week in Wisconsin, wins a win on the road. Ohio State, only lost to Oregon by 1. Texas, I think their biggest win's Vanderbilt. But they have been pretty consistent, but Georgia did beat them. Penn State hasn't beaten anyone and got beat by Ohio State, can't get over the hump. I think Indiana's story is going to go – the Cinderella story is going to get humbled against Ohio State. And then I don't know how you beat Mercer and then Alabama jumps up 3. Tennessee's 11, Boise State 12. BYU fell all the way back to BYU with that terrible loss against Kansas. So anyway, what's your where would you have had Georgia ranked? Alex, if you had to pick.
I mean, the thing is, they need to be more consistent with this. Mm-hmm. These rankings, like it seems like, for certain teams there's a criterion, for other teams there's not. Like a loss in September does not matter for Notre Dame, and it's a bad one. But a loss in September at Alabama, night game, first big SEC game of the year, is they're like punishing Georgia for it almost. When, I would say Bama has worse losses than Georgia. I know like there's inconsistency in that because we obviously lost to Alabama, but I just want them to see more consistency across the board. Like there's no way Georgia should have fallen 8 spots after a loss on the road to Ole Miss in a muddy, rainy game. And this is my thing. If we see, like, let's hypothetically, if Ohio State loses to Indiana this weekend, Ohio State should not be in the playoff because they had that same criteria for Georgia and for Tennessee. You lose your second game, you're out until you can get a better win. And that would be Ohio State's second loss. Their best win would be on the road at Penn State. It's a good win. I'm not going to deny that. Happy Valley is a tough place to play. But they should be out according to what they have done and the precedent they have set, up to this point. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Ohio State is going to win by 30, But
will that knock Indiana out? How far do you think they should drop being at 5?
If the committee has any sort of consistency, which they don't, they should fall quite a bit, because they don't have a good win. Their only test of the season, they lost and stuff like that. And as SEC fans, we got to kind of throw bias aside and understand that Texas also doesn't have a great win right now. What happens if they lose to A&M, 2 weeks or a week from now, what happens then? Do they drop out as a 2-loss, team like Georgia did, like Tennessee did? Or do they keep them in, or keep them high?
Yep, completely agree. So, and then I do want to say, as a Georgia fan, I think there has to be a lot of scenarios, but I don't really want to play in the SEC championship game at all because this is a marathon this year, and just skip that game and heal up, and you'll have almost 4 weeks to heal, get some guys back. One other one I did want to ask, I know they're all over the place and inconsistent, and they were trying to ask it yesterday, and the guy's all over the place, the commissioner guy or whoever's the head of it, and I believe he's a Michigan grad, which is maybe some home cooking there. But do you think, for example, the loser of one of these conference championships will get, hit by it and brought down? For example, let's say a 2-loss Alabama loses a close one to Texas. They're going to stay right there where they were ranked. Also, historically, last year, Georgia, we knew about it, lost 3 points, SEC championship game, the only loss, dropped from 1 to 6. So if there's any consistency there, will they have a big drop? Or do you think penalized is what I was trying to say earlier? Do you think these teams will be penalized for playing in conference championship?
I mean, for what they did last year, I think they should. Like, let's say Bama loses to Texas, they've got 3 losses. And then the arguments between Alabama and Tennessee, Bama's out. They lost a head-to-head. They have more losses. I mean, they're out. Like, there's no scenario. Like, and we might see conference championship games go away, at some point. And the SEC just might add a 9th conference game. That's what I would prefer they do. Add a 9th conference game and no SEC championship game, because if coaches are saying they don't want to play in it, like, what's the point? And then last year they set a precedent, like, you lose in your conference championship game, you lose by 3 points, to an Alabama team. Obviously it was Nick Saban's last, conference championship game, and like, they punished Georgia for it after winning 29 straight games, however many it was, and and that would stink. Like, I would not like for Alabama to be out. I think they're one of the 12 best teams in the country. But if that happens, the Kimmy's not going to know what to do, and they're going to make the wrong decision, most likely, because then they'll probably keep Bama in and put Tennessee out, and that's just borderline incompetence at that point. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So
I think they're throwing spaghetti against the wall. They don't really know what's going on, but I don't know what kind of data they're looking at. But yeah, I know we're a little partial. And then, from what I'm reading it right, let's just say if Georgia gets in that top 8, they do get a home game. Is that correct? How's that work with? I'm still trying to figure all the playoffs.
I think it's an 8 seed, yes, because the 8 plays the 9 seed. The the 7 seed plays like the 10. Yeah, so I think if we're the 8, you get a home game. And if we beat Georgia Tech, we should be over Miami. We should be ranked ahead of Miami, no matter how many losses they have.
Gotcha. And then I was thinking about this. Is there still a crazy way? Because I think it's one. Is it still what's the ACC? Is it still SMU and Miami currently, or is it Clemson still in there?
Clemson is probably
could be wrong.
Out.
Reason why I was looking at this is that was this crazy scenario. If they won out and then South Carolina beat them and they won the ACC, they could get in with like 3 losses and be in the top 4. But I could be completely wrong. I was looking at that. Right now it's SMU and Clemson, at least on ESPN, the top 2.
Yeah.
So see where I'm going with it?
Yeah.
If they won out and South Carolina beat them and they'd win the ACC, they could be like in the top 4, which is crazy, and they'd make a huge jump.
That would be terrible.
Because I think South Carolina's going to give them all they want. SMU's got at Virginia and California, and then Cal at home. I think those are winnable. I mean, would they be left out? Would that, like, if Clemson jumped up there, I mean, would that knock out Miami, or would you have like 3 teams? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of
I have no idea. I think Clemson's only ahead of them right now because of they still have 2 more ACC games to play, it looks like.
They got looking at Clemson, they got Citadel and South Carolina, so they're finished. And then let's see.
They're done with their ACC. Then Miami has Wake Forest and Syracuse to play.
I think Syracuse wouldn't be a pushover. Depends on where it is.
At Syracuse.
Weird things happen there. So yeah,
they do happen there.
So how about that? Let's just say if they got knocked off, we definitely jumped in, of course. So that opened up a spot. It'd be really great to get a home game. I think that's a goal.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder, who does Notre Dame have left? I want to see. I think Notre Dame still has a pretty.
I
They
mean, I
play
think
Army. They play Army this week.
yeah,
Then they play at USC. So they still have
US,
2 games left that are,
yeah.
not easy.
I think they got them right real quick, right up now. I mean, things are going to change, but we would have to go to Penn State. But I just think some wackiness is going to happen, and all you got to do is win these next 2 and kind of sit back in the clubhouse and see where the next, see where the playoffs take you.
Just win your games at this point. Just win. Penn State plays at Minnesota too, and Minnesota's no pushover.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It definitely could get interesting here.
So we kind of, I think as Georgia fans, do you want to maybe pull for Ohio State to just smoke Indiana? So maybe we move ahead on it.
I think you pull for Indiana and get Ohio State out of the bracket.
Do you think even that? Well, that was a top 5 team. That's a really good Indiana team, and they're so biased. I don't think they would drop that far. I think they would still be in it just the way that is. Do you see them dropping from, what is it, 2 to 13? I could see it being like
they should. They did it to Georgia.
I agree, but there's some home cooking. I can see them only dropping not that much. I mean, our luck, they would be ahead of us. Well, that was they lost to the number 1 team in Oregon close, and then if it's a close game by Indiana, they lost to a really good top 5 Indiana team. Think about that. That's what they're going to say. These were 2 quality losses. Well, what was Georgia doing? Well, they got blown out by Ole Miss.
Yeah, why? Blown out as a stretch.
Why? There's nothing we could do. Like, watch them. They would drop to like 8 or 9, still be in there. Oh, yeah, we're going to give them that home game because that's going to get some viewers, man.
Watch. They'll put Ohio State at 8, Georgia at 9. And
yeah, exactly.
Columbus.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. As a Georgia fan, I don't want kind of the Georgia guys going on to any of these like Boise State or some like frigid cold, snowstorm or anyway. I just would not want them to do that.
I think those boys will play anywhere. At least we can only hope that.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But I just don't think. I just think the Big Ten is. I mean, you saw Ohio State lost their best offensive lineman yesterday. They lost their center to torn Achilles, Seth McLaughlin, who played at Bama last year. If you remember him, he had the snap problems. But he's really good this year, and that's 3 starting offensive linemen for Ohio State out. So 2 tackles and a center. So they obviously have better players than Indiana, and I think Ohio State will win by quite a bit.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see also what Indiana's got, like if they're legit, because they have been blowing out teams besides Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
they have all been pretty bad teams though.
Yeah, man, we'll see. But like I said, just Georgia take care of business. We'll be in a good spot.
Yep.
So, Alex, how do we follow you on some of your content?
Yeah, just follow me. Follow College Football Home. He is the head guy, and help me get this account and stuff like that. He is a great account. He posts score predictions every week, and goodness, that guy is spot on with a lot of his score predictions. Like he has got that down to a science. And then follow me at FQ_UGA. Looking to grow my account, trying to get to more than 1,000 followers by the end of this season. And I am trying to be really active when it comes to recruiting, going forward. So I'll be trying to post a lot of recruiting analysis and stuff like that. So looking forward to some of those stuff.
Yeah, man. Follow Alex on there, 856 and counting. Hopefully that you guys can support him and get him out there. But yeah, really appreciate you coming on again today, talking some ball, and always great to talk about Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You enjoy your vacation. This guy's a hard worker. He's doing a podcast for his subscribers and fans in Venice. So hats off to you, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. And if you're still around, like, subscribe, share the podcast, and we'll say goodbye to you from Venice, Italy. And I'll be in Rome watching the UMASS game in a different time zone. But yeah, I'm definitely checking it out. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you.